A lot of people have asked about the fight story between Buster Beatz and Nick. Nick, as I mentioned previously, was a Golden Gloves boxer who was part of Little Italy during my first year of incarceration in Towers Jail, Phoenix, Arizona, medium security. Little Italy actually took over from the Aryan Brotherhood for a bit, and it was quite a fun time, fun in inverted commas, because they completely corrupted the guards, had the guards bringing us new bedding and towels and boxes after we got raided by other guards, and the Italians were moving people around from cell to cell, and you could choose who your cellmates were. So before we get into the fight story between Buster Beatz and Nick, I need to explain who Buster Beatz was. And Buster Beatz did end up in my cell for a little bit. So I've mentioned the race riot story. So I'm going to read out of Hard Time, chapter 18 now, about Buster Beatz. So, to promote racial harmony following the riot, the guards moved half of our pod to other towers. So, a pod is 2 tiers of cells and a day room, an enclosed area. Originally, the cells were designed for 1 person. You got 15. Then they double bunked them to 30. And then there was 3 bunks in them. 45 people living in a unit meant for 15, really overcrowded. Into D10, which was my cell in that tower, the guards moved Buster Beatz, a young Mexican-American who thinks he is a rap star and arrives with a pet cricket in a box. With a round face, slanted chestnut eyes, and short, spiky black hair, he looks like an Eskimo. His skin is an etch-a-sketch of mismatched tattoos, including smiley faces on his fingertips. Buster in rickety writing on one forearm, and Beatz, Beatz, on the other. After taking psychotropic medication, Buster Beatz circles the day room with a vacant stir and raps. His attorney has filed a Rule 11. Now, Rule 11 is a courtroom motion that gets you the status of seriously mentally ill. And some people try and file Rule 11 because they think it's going to be a mitigating circumstance when they get sentenced. It's going to possibly reduce their sentence. Some people feel that if they get sent to the nut house, the case will go stale and they're going to get a reduced sentence that way. Anything to avoid getting sent down to the big house right away. Some people even crap their pants and play with shit in the courtroom in front of the judge just to try and fake that they're seriously mentally ill. My cellmate Troll was going around with skid stains on his pink boxers. He was filing for Rule 11 as well. So, Buster Beatz is undergoing tests for severe mental impairment. Something the psychiatrist should take into consideration for his Rule 11 is his love of Red Death. If you've watched my videos on what the food was in the jail, there was a mystery meat slop called Red Death. It looked like carroty vomit blended with blood, all kinds of random meat in it, it stunk, and occasionally there was a dead rat in it. Yeah. They just had these big vats of veg and potatoes, and a rat would slip out of them once in a while into the slop. Buster Beatz can't get enough of Red Death. It is a common courtesy for anyone leaving Red Death to give it to Buster Beatz. He receives up to 10 trays daily. I mean, that stuff was uneatable. A lot of the prisoners just put the Red Death by the sliding door for the trustees to take away. But Buster Beatz can't get enough of it. By tray pickup, he is usually still eating, so he bags the Red Death, puts all the mustard he can scrounge into the bags, bites the corners off the bags, and squeezes the Red Death into his mouth. I will never, ever forget the stink of this Busta Beatz just doing this in our cell after all the chow's been cleared up. The food lasts until the next day and makes our cell stink of rotting meat. That Red Death smell, I can just feel it catching up with me right now. Curious about this bizarre character who delights in catching me off guard and pulling my trousers down. Yeah, I'd be stood like up a tier looking down at the day room, and all the prisoners are milling around the day room or watching TV or playing cards or whatever, people working out, and all of a sudden, bam! Busta Beatz has snuck up behind me. I didn't even hear him, and he's pulled my trousers and sometimes my boxers right down. So I asked him about his life. I'm state-raised, foster homes, he says. When I was 11, I was kidnapped off the streets by a guy and a chick. They took me to a house and made me take crystal meth. They kept me there while the guy raped me and his friends raped me. They'd suck me off and give me crystal and tell me everything was going to be all right. Repulsed, shocked, I say, hey, look, you don't have to tell me this stuff if you don't want to. It's all right, I can deal with it. They raped me for 3 days, then just dropped me off where they found me. So I went back to my foster parents. After that, I started to run away a lot. Did drugs, sniffed a lot of paint. To buy paint and drugs, I shoplifted and robbed houses. I ran away to Phoenix where I didn't know anyone. Ended up living on the streets, mostly West Van Buren. The Mexicans recruited me for their gang, Doble. They gave me a gun, so I go to 35th and Van Buren and stick up shoppers. Doble took half. I kept half for paint, drugs, and fast food. So were you busted sticking someone up? No, for breaking into an empty house I was going to sleep in. I encourage Busta Beatz to get some books to improve his reading. He reads erotica to a mosquito he keeps on a small island of soggy toilet paper under an empty peanut butter container. Worried the mosquito might escape, he rips a wing off. Feeling sorry for it, he attempts to feed it a morsel of Snickers, but the mosquito backs away. Bad mosquito, don't walk that way. I'll have to punish you again. The people you meet in prison. There are some serious characters. He rolls 6 inches of toilet paper to the diameter of pencil lead and hovers it over the mosquito's rear. You are not being a good slave. I'm going to have to spank your ass again. Here I come. He taps the mosquito's rear with the toilet paper. Good slave. No, bad slave. I'm going to have to spank you again. He does this for 2 days until the mosquito dies. Then he eats it. During the night, lying stomach down on the cell floor, he writes rap songs in the company of his cricket, which is unable to jump away as he's removed its legs. Practicing raps in loud whispers, he often wakes me up. His most popular rap with the inmates is Dead Body Hose, about him defiling the corpses of famous women, including Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears. The inmates demand that song every day. Dead body, dead body, dead body hose. Dead body, dead body, dead body hose. So that is your introduction to Busta Beatz. Obviously, sticking people up is a bad thing, and he deserves some punishment for that. But hearing his sad story as to how he got there, kidnapped and raped and put on drugs and sucked off by rapist kidnappers, it made me and some of the other prisoners think, you know, this guy didn't stand a chance in life. And me and Nick, from Little Italy, we did try and get in contact with his foster parents and people who would possibly help him get him on a straight and narrow path. But that all fell through after he got into this fight with Nick. So I'm going to do that in a separate video. Thank you.